Graders. Today we're going to keep reading Ramona. We're reading chapter 6, which is called The Baddest Witch in the The Baddest Witch in the World. When do you think this chapter is going to happen? Like, what time of year might have Ramona dressing up like a witch? When the morning kindergarten cut jack-o'-lanterns from orange paper and pasted them on the windows so that the light shone through the eye and mouth holes, Ramona knew that at last Halloween was not far away. So this is for Halloween. Next to Christmas and her birthday, Ramona liked Halloween the best. She liked dressing up and going trick-or-treating after dark with Beezus. She liked those nights when the bare branches of trees waved against the streetlights and the world was a ghostly place. Ramona liked scaring people, and she liked the shivery feeling of being scared herself. Ramona had always enjoyed going to school with her mother to watch the boys and girls at Greenwood School parade on the playground in their Halloween costumes. Afterward, she used to eat a donut and drink a paper cup of apple juice if there was some left over. But this year, after years of sitting on the benches with mothers and little brothers and sisters, Ramona was finally going to get to wear a costume and march around on the playground herself. This year, she had a donut and apple juice coming to her. "Mama, did you buy my mask?" Ramona asked every day when she came home from school. "Not today, dear," Mrs. Quimby answered. "Don't pester. I'll get it the next time I go down to the shopping mall." Ramona, who did not mean to pester her mother, could not see why grown-ups had to be so slow. "Make it a bad mask, Mama," she said. "I want to be the baddest witch in the whole world." "You mean the worst witch," Beezus said, whenever she happened to overhear the conversation. "I do not," contradicted Ramona. "I mean the baddest witch." Baddest witch sounded much scarier than worst witch, and Ramona did enjoy stories about bad witches. The badder, the better. She had no patience with books about good witches, because witches were supposed to be bad. Ramona had chosen to be a witch for that very reason. Then, one day, Ramona came home from school. She found 2 paper bags on the foot of her bed. One contained black fabric material and a pattern for a witch costume. The picture on the pattern showed the witch's hat pointed like the letter A, just like she learned from Miss Binney. Ramona reached into the second bag and pulled out a rubber witch mask, so scary that she dropped it on the bed because she was not sure she even wanted to touch it. The flabby thing was grayish-green like mold, and it had stringy hair, a hooked nose, snaggle teeth, and a wart. Its empty eyes seemed to stare at Ramona with a look of evil. The face was so ghastly that Ramona had to remind herself it was only a rubber mask from the dollar store before she could summon enough courage to pick it up and put it over her face. When you pick your Halloween costume, do you like to pick something that's scary? And if you do you ever scare yourself? Sounds like Ramona is scared of her own costume. Ramona peeked cautiously in the mirror, then backed away, and then gathered her courage to look again. "That's really me in there," she told herself, and felt better. She ran to show off her mother and discovered that she felt very brave when she was inside the mask and did not have to look at it. "I'm the baddest witch in the world," she shouted, her voice muffled by her mask, and she was delighted when her mother was so scared she dropped her sewing. Here's Ramona's mask. I think if someone ran up to me with that mask on, I would be scared. But Ramona's inside of it, so she feels brave. She's the one doing the scaring. Ramona waited for Beezus and her father to come home so she could put on her mask and jump out and scare them. But that night, before she went to bed, she rolled up the mask and hid it behind a cushion of the couch in the living room. "What are you doing that for?" asked Beezus, who had nothing to be afraid of. She was planning to be a princess and wear a pink costume. "Because I want to," answered Ramona, who did not want to sleep in the same room as that ghastly, staring face. Afterwards, when Ramona wanted to frighten herself, she would lift the cushion for a quick glimpse of her mask before she clapped the pillow over it again. Scaring herself was so much fun. When Ramona's costume was finished, and the day of the Halloween parade arrived, the morning kindergarten had trouble sitting still for seat work. That's true even in second grade, right? When it's Halloween, it's hard to stay still and focus on your work. The students wiggled so much while they were resting that Miss Binny had to wait a long time before she found someone quiet enough to be the wake-up fairy. When kindergarten was finally dismissed, the whole class forgot the rules and went stampeding, running out the door. At home, Ramona ate only the soft part of her tuna fish sandwich, because her mother insisted she could not go to the Halloween parade on an empty stomach. She wadded up the crust into her napkin and hid them underneath her plate before her mother could see, and then she ran to her room to put on her long black dress, her cape, her mask, and her pointed witch hat that held on by an elastic under her chin. Ramona had some doubts about that elastic. None of the witches who she saw in books ever seemed to have an elastic under their chin. But today, she was too happy and excited to make a big fuss. "See, Mama," she cried, "I'm the baddest witch in the world." Mrs. Quimby smiled at Ramona, patted her through her long black dress, and said, "Sometimes I think you are." "Come on, Mama, let's go to the Halloween parade." Ramona had waited so long that she did not see how she could wait even another 5 minutes. "I told Howie's mother we would wait for him," said Mrs. Quimby. "Mama, did you have to?" protested Ramona, running to the front window to keep watch for Howie. But fortunately, Mrs. Kemp and Willa Jean were already approaching, with Howie dressed in a black cat costume, walking along behind, holding the end of his tail in one hand. Willa Jean, in her stroller, was wearing a buck-toothed rabbit mask. Ramona could not wait. She burst out the front door, yelling through her mask, "Ah! Ah! I'm the baddest witch in the world! Hurry, Howie! I'm gonna get you, Howie!" Here's the picture. I think she looks pretty scary. But look at Howie. Does he look scared? And here he is. He's holding up his tail. But Howie just walked solidly along, holding his tail, so Ramona had to run out to meet him. He was not wearing a mask, but instead he had pipe cleaners taped to his face for whiskers. "I'm the baddest witch in the world," Ramona informed him, "and you can be my cat." Witches have to have cats, right? "I don't want to be your cat," said Howie. "I don't want to be a cat at all." "Why not, Howie?" asked Mrs. Quimby, who had joined Ramona and the Kemps. "I think you make a very nice cat." "My tail is busted," complained Howie. "I don't want to be a cat with a busted tail." Mrs. Kemp sighed. "Now, Howie, if you'll just hold up the end of your tail, nobody will notice." Then she said to Ramona's mom, I promised him a pirate costume, but his older sister was sick, and while I was taking her temperature, Willa Jean crawled into the cupboard and managed to dump a whole bottle of salad oil all over the kitchen floor. If you've ever had to clean oil off a floor, you know what I went through. And then Howie went into the bathroom and climbed up. Yes, dear, I know you wanted to help. He climbed up to get a sponge, and then he accidentally stepped on a tube of toothpaste that someone had left the top off. Now, Howie, I didn't say you left the top off, but toothpaste squirted all over the bathroom and there was another mess to clean up. Well, I just didn't have time. I had to drag his sister's old cat costume out of the drawer, and when he put it on, we discovered the wire in the tail was broken, but there just wasn't time to take it apart and get a new wire. You have a handsome set of whiskers, said Mrs. Quimby, trying to convince Howie to look on the bright side. The tape itches, said Howie. Ramona could see that Howie was not going to be any fun at all, even on Halloween. Never mind. She would have fun all by herself. I'm the baddest witch in the world, she said. I'm the baddest witch in the world. When they were in sight of the playground, Ramona saw that it was already swarming with both the morning and the afternoon kindergartners in their Halloween costumes. Poor Miss Binny, dressed like Mother Goose, now had the responsibility of 68 boys and girls. Run along, Ramona, said Mrs. Quimby when they had crossed the street. Hallie's mother and I will go to the big playground and try to find a seat on a bench before they're all taken. We're going to stop there for today. Tomorrow we'll read about the Halloween parade. So your question is, do you like to dress up in a scary Halloween costume like Ramona? Or a nice Halloween costume like Beezus? Or an exciting costume like a pirate, which Howie did not get to be? I'll see you tomorrow.